Good afternoon, eighth grade Bobcats. Mr. Flato here. Welcome back to another great week at the Helena Middle School. This week's Bob lesson for the next few weeks, and actually for the rest of the school year here, was kind of thinking about how do I want to end Bob lessons for your middle school career here at HMS. And I saw a really interesting thread that one of my favorite authors came out with last week. Jordan Peterson, he's a Canadian psychologist, professor. He's had a couple books recently that I both read, 12 Rules for Life. This was his latest book that he wrote, and he kind of expanded on that a little bit and kind of did this Twitter thread, 42 Rules for Life. And now that you guys are eighth graders, kind of at the end of middle school, I thought it would be fun to kind of put some deeper critical thinking items out there and kind of with the help of me explaining some of the vocabulary and maybe explaining how it's applicable to 14-year-olds and 15-year-olds moving forward. So we're going to go down a little 3-week journey on that. I'm hoping that everybody picks out a couple things that really mean something to them. Jordan Peterson is somebody that I'm a big fan of. I don't agree with everything he says or his philosophy on everything, just like with Bob Lessons, everything that I put out isn't my word is not gold. You've got to decipher and pick and choose what really speaks to you and what has meaning to you the same way that I do with all of the authors that I read, so on and so forth. So I'm hoping that a few of these rules grab you all or mean something to you and something that can be beneficial here your last few weeks at HMS. So let's get rocking and rolling on this part one of 42 Rules for Life. Make it a great week. All right, here we go. This week's Bob lesson is titled 42 Rules for Life. And this was taken from Jordan Peterson's 42 Rules for Life Twitter thread that we're going to go through. Important to give the original author their credit. Not trying to plagiarize here. All right, but before we get going, let's be our best this week at HMS. Let's be safe, let's be responsible, let's be respectful, let's be a learner. All right, let's get rocking and rolling. Rule number one, tell the truth or at least don't lie. Truth reduces the terrible complexity of a man to the simplicity, man or woman, to the simplicity of his word. Truth is the ultimate, inexhaustible natural resource. It's the light in the darkness. If I can say one thing about life moving forward, so much of life is about relationships. And the quickest, easiest way to destroy a relationship is to lose credibility and to lose trust. The easiest way to lose credibility and lose trust with our fellow human beings in life is to be dishonest and not tell the truth. Rule number two, do not do things that you hate. Now, I know at this age, there's some things we have to do. Some you don't like going to school every day. This rule speaks to more when you're an adult. Don't waste your time doing things that you don't want to do. Watch yourself. If you see that you're doing things that make you hate yourself, consider the cost of continuing. Rule number three, act so that you can tell the truth about how you act. Stop doing things that you know are wrong, that you could stop doing. It might be a little thing, that's fine. Stop doing it and see what happens. You strengthen yourself. And that rule to me is all about self accountability and acting in a way to where it's very easy to be honest because you have nothing to hide. Rule number four, pursue what is meaningful, not what is expedient. What's expedient is what's quick, what's easy, what's convenient. There is no faith, no courage, and no sacrifice in doing what is expedient. To have meaning in your life is better than to have what you want because you may neither know what you want nor what you truly need. I will say that nothing worth having in life, whether it's relationships, whether it's sports or activities, whether it's a job someday, everything that has value does not come easy. Nothing that comes super easy is really that valuable. Something to think about. Rule number five, if you have to choose, be the one who does things instead of the one who is seen to do things. If you fulfill your obligations every day, you don't need to worry about the future. So much of life is having substance, doing the right things, doing what is right, not putting on a front, not putting on a facade. And to me, that's what this rule really speaks to. Rule number six, pay attention. What do you do if your life isn't in order? Pay attention. Paying attention is like watching for something you don't know. It's an unbelievably powerful force. This rule to me is about having awareness and mindfulness of what's going on in your life, how you're living your life, spending time to slow down, reflect,
and pay attention to everything around you and everything that's going on in your life instead of being just a robot going through the motions. Rule number 7, assume that the person you are listening to might know something that you need to know. You want to enter into a conversation so that you come out wiser than you went in. There's so many people around us that have so much knowledge to give us. I love finding and having conversations with people that are older and more established in life than me because I feel like there's so much wisdom and so much you can learn from other people. Rule number 8 is closely tied to this. Listen to them hard enough so that they will share it with you. The sympathetic responses during a genuine conversation indicate that the teller is valued and that the story being told is important, serious, deserving of consideration, and understandable. One of my favorite quotes is, don't listen to respond when you're talking with people. Listen to understand other people. That's what being a great listener is all about. Rule number 9, plan and work diligently to maintain the romance in your relationship. So this is more for the adults, but some of you are going through the dating stuff or on the precipice of doing the dating stuff. Um, and this is also very much real for your friendships as well. Allow yourself to become aware of what you want, need in relationships. Have the decency to let your partner or your friendships in on the secret of what you want, what you need. Do not expect the beauty of love to maintain itself without all out effort on your part. Romantic relationships are just like platonic friendships, just on a more serious level. And that requires much more work, much more communication, much more sacrifice, much more of all of that. Rule number 10, be careful who you share good news with. You want to share good news with people who will be genuinely happy for you. That's one way you can identify those people who are on your side. We live in a highly, highly, highly competitive world. And you'll find that everybody, as you get older, it only continues, it seems, that so many people are in a competition with other people and can be a little bit um, selfish and a little bit I don't want to use the word arrogant, but a little bit about their own journey and their own life. Rule number 11, be careful who you share bad news with. You can tell a true friend bad news and they'll listen. They won't derail the whole conversation about how something worse happened to them once. True friend is what sticks out on this one. True friends have empathy. True friends don't make it about themselves. True friends are there to support you and have your back. Rule number 12, make at least one thing better every single place you go. I'm on the side of the person that wants to do something positive with their life. Start by maximizing the quality of your life. Figure out how to do that in a way that's beneficial, that can benefit your relatives and your community. Rule number 13, imagine who you could be and then aim single mindedly at that. Aim at something profound, noble, and lofty. Pick the best target you can conceptualize. Stumble towards it. Notice your errors and misconceptions along the way and correct them. Confront what stands in the way. Many of you are going to be, well, all of you are going to be in high school next year. And every year that goes by, we need to become more and more aware of who we are and what we want to do. And we need to really start making some plans. And I think everybody that is listening to this is capable of doing something more noble and more lofty, more profound, and higher than they even think that they can do. Rule number 14, and the last one for this week, I got to break this up into 3 parts. Do not allow yourself to become arrogant or resentful. If you're resentful, you're likely not standing up for yourself sufficiently, or someone is legitimately treading on your territory. You need to do something about that or live with the consequences. This rule to me is all about letting go of things, letting go of negative situations or people that have hurt you in the past, because if you still allow yourself to be resentful, then that person still owns you mentally, emotionally, still owns you. Also, standing up for yourself in general, and that shows high levels of self-respect when you don't let people walk all over you and you don't let people disrespect you.
All right, let's give away some jelly beans. This week's winners: Ava DePizzle, Cody Ott, Bree Pineda, Hunter Pettit, and Kale Covey. What word could be reads the same, whether it's forward, backwards, upside down? And the answer was noon. If you think all caps, it's noon. I did reward a couple swims, even though if you put swims upside down or backwards, it's an S is turned. But I'm in a good mood, so I decided to be gratuitous today. All right, this week's Jelly question of the week. If you have 2 dogs, 1 cat, and a lizard, how many legs do you have? If you think you know the answer, submit your answer to the Bob Box. Get it in by the end of the week. Tune in next week to see if you're a winner. All right, Bobcats, let's make it a great week at the Helen